Are you ready for a kitchen adventure? We are going to be talking about the hidden grime that's in your kitchen that you probably didn't even know of and you walk past every single day. The first thing that I'm going to talk about is actually your kitchen kettle. If you have a water kettle or anything like this, there actually is a hidden filter inside that you need to be cleaning on a regular basis. Now you have to pull up at an angle in order to get out, but once you do, it'll pop right out. I promise you it's easier than it looks. It looks just like that. That is what you need to be cleaning. Do you see that nastiness on there? So when it comes to cleaning the screen, you're just going to go ahead and use a little bit of dish soap and a scrub daddy, and it'll come right clean. No worries of anything special. Now, tackling the tea kettle, you want to make sure that when you use this, you don't wet the bottom of the base there, that it connects to the electrical part. So we are going to clean the inside scale with a Barkeeper's Friend descaling liquid. You want to fill the tea kettle all the way up to the top, and then you're going to follow the instructions based on the size of your tea kettle of how many tablespoons of the descaler you need to add. And you're going to put it on its base and let it boil. Another little trick that I like to use is put a little bit of the Barkeeper solution onto a paper towel so that you can clean off any of the hard water stains or scale that actually leaked out of it, and it'll clean right off. Once your kettle is done boiling, you're just going to go ahead and dump out the hot water, and you're going to see the magic inside as all of the stains and hard water is gone. Next, you want to be able to just tackle the outside with a little bit of water and a little bit of a scrub daddy just to get any of the residue off. And then you're going to use a damp microfiber cloth to clean it off. If coffee is an essential part of your day, keeping your Keurig clean is a must. Now, there is a light on most of the machines that indicates when it needs to be descaled. So if you've never done this, you should probably pay attention to that little light. But we're going to be using Barkeeper's Friend just like we did for the tea kettle, and it helps to tackle the tough stains and build up inside coffee machines so that they can work efficiently and last longer. All you're going to do is you're going to take the reservoir, you're going to fill it up with water, follow the instructions based on your reservoir. Next, you're going to run your machine as usual, and you're going to do this several times so that it can circulate throughout and get rid of any of the mineral deposits that may be stuck inside your machine. And once you are done doing this, you're actually going to notice your coffee is going to taste better. Cleaning the outside includes you unplugging the machine and removing all of the accessories that come with the machine. With a damp cloth and a non-toxic cleaner, you're going to go ahead and wipe the outside and any of the stains, the drips, especially around the drip tray and any of the areas that gets lots of splashes. You want to do a full descale every 3 to 6 months depending on the water hardness and how much you use your machine. Our dishwasher is one of those appliances that works hard to keep our dishes sparkling, but if we don't clean it regularly, it can actually stop doing its job and some gross things can actually start to grow in there. The first thing we're going to check is the filter. It's located at the bottom of most dishwashers, and if you're like most people, you probably forget to clean it. But here's why it's so important. The filter catches food particles, grease, and even hard water deposits. If it gets clogged up, it can lead to cloudy dishes, unpleasant odors, and even damage your machine over time. To remove it, it easily just twists off, and then you can pull it out and you can use some warm water and some dish soap and a scrub daddy. I actually like to also use my Rubbermaid scrubber. This multi-purpose using tool is so awesome to get into those crevices and crannies. I'll actually link it below. The next step is you're going to remove everything out of the dishwasher. Every single rack should be able to be removed. You're going to use a little bit of Dawn Power Wash. In my case, I use the DIY version. Remove any of the spinning arms. There should be a bottom and a top one, and you may have an extra one in the back depending on the type of dishwasher you have. Use a little bit of paper towels to suck up any of that leftover water that hangs inside. After you have cleaned your filter, you replace it, replace your trays and your wash arms, and then you're going to use a dishwasher tablet from Afresh. These things are awesome. Once a month is a good rule of thumb, and this is great for regular maintenance to keep your dishwasher smelling fresh and working efficiently. Be sure to always clean around the sides and the edging of your dishwasher door and to clean anything that may be inside. So one of the most overlooked things inside your kitchen is actually the top of your kitchen cabinets. If you've never done this, you should see some buildup in yours. So you can see a little bit on my hands there, a little buildup. Now I'm gonna show you some tricks on how to keep this cleaner if you don't wanna deal with that. Let's see if we can do this without falling. Just use like a kitchen degreaser. You can use a little bit of Dawn in here. If you've got a lot of buildup, you're going to want to use like a scraper, but not a metal scraper because this is wood. You're going to want to use like a plastic scraper, and I do have a plastic scraper. I will leave it and link it in the description below. The scraper that I was referring to, this is just a plastic scraper that has a ledge here, just like you would have if you had a metal one, and then it has a little replaceable button here that you could replace the plastic scraper with, and I'll show you how it works. But if you've got a lot of buildup after you've sprayed your stuff, I'll get a good amount here for you. Let's see here. There we go. So there you go. You'll see that. Now, if you haven't cleaned yours in a while, you're going to have a lot of buildup. So you're going to want to start with that degreaser or that Dawn and wash, or any kind of dish soap with your starting point, and then scrape away at it, and then you'll be able to wipe. Because if you start right away and you start to wipe when it's full of it, your microfiber cloth is not going to move. It is going to get stuck on the surface when you're trying to clean. All right, so I was able to get the tripod up here so you can kind of see a little bit of it. Now I'm using, again, this is just the Dawn Power Wash that I use, but this is my DIY version. I'm going to use a little bit of it. You can see there, I'm getting it clean. So here's some tips to reduce the future cleanings. So you can line it with paper towels. For my cabinets, actually, it fits perfectly in the size. You just cut the length and it'll fit perfectly in there. Or you can use something like a silicone based mat. You can buy a roll of silicone from Amazon, and you can go right up there and you can just toss it in a dishwasher. Moving on to the next part of the kitchen. If you have never cleaned behind your refrigerator, now is the time. This is typically a spring and fall task for me. Mine does pull out very easily on the tiled floor, and since I regularly clean it, it won't be too bad. But getting behind there with all the crumbs and the stuff that falls underneath the refrigerator is super important, especially because you want to make sure you're maintaining the refrigerator's efficiency, making sure there's not a lot of dust in there and it's not sucking it up into the coils and into the fan system. So this is what the floor looks like behind it. Mine does have the water feature. So start off by sweeping or vacuuming all of the dirt and dust, and then moving on to mopping that area. To get into the crevices, make sure you use a tool on your vacuum so that you get to the corners and gather up all of the grossness in there. I ended up having to use my scraper there. There was a little bit of buildup down there. I wasn't sure what it was from, but we went ahead and used the scraper, and then I just used my mopping power of my mop. And if you want, you can add a Scrub Daddy in the middle if you need a little bit more power to that. I've used that and talked about it in some of my other videos. I have an O-Cedar mop hack video, which I will put here at the top of the video, but you can get extra scrubbing power. If you are one of my superstars that has made it this far into the video, comment a rocket ship down below. So in the beginning of this video production, I actually started to develop a cold, which ended up into a sinus infection. So I ended up having to stop video recording and wait until I was healing because I couldn't even talk. I was so stuffed up, and then my voice was changing, and you can probably hear it in some of the videos, and I'm still getting over it 2 weeks later. So if you're one of my rock stars, thanks for watching this video up to this far, and make sure you take this video as inspiration and get to tackling some of these tasks. Let's continue on to the video. If you didn't know this, there's a fan in the back of your refrigerator that actually sucks in air so that it can use its functions. And that can suck in a lot of dust and dirt, and this is what it looks like. Mine is just a piece of cardboard, yours could be metal, but you want to make sure that you take the time while you've got the refrigerator out to tackle that. You will not be able to clean it completely, but at least give the fan a chance in working more efficiently by trying to vacuum out as much dust and dirt and use a little bit of a brush to clean it out. I hope you're enjoying our kitchen adventure because we are continuing on. So now let's talk about the front grate of your fridge. Located at the bottom of your fridge, you can see there's a grate down there, and I'm going to remove it. Now I am using actually an auto detailer tool that I got from the Dollar Tree, but I will link a similar one for Amazon there. So the front of this can easily collect dust, dirt, and even pet hair and small little pieces of food if you kick it under or you sweep and things just kind of get under there. But that buildup can block the airflow again and make your fridge work harder, which isn't great for its lifespan and energy bill. So for most grates, you're going to remove it by gently pulling or popping them off. but I always check your fridge's manual just to be sure, because once it's off, you're likely going to see the dust build up, and you're going to need a vacuum, a brush attachment, a little tool like I have here to clear away the dust quickly so that you can wipe it down as well. I recommend a dry microfiber cloth because you don't want to mess with anything that's down there. Now that the grid is off, you'll see the coils. This is crucial for the cooling, so make sure that we get in there as much as we can. Now, we're not looking for perfection here because we're not going to be able to reach everything. And then you're going to use your vacuum to suck up as much as you can. And then you're going to take the grate part and you're going to wash it outside. This is actually the easiest part of this. So you're going to take this outside or wherever in your dish pan, or if you have like a larger area to clean this. But I just use, again, my favorite DIY power wash, a little bit of water. If it's got a lot of gunk and greasy, make sure that you scrub it. And then you want to replace it right where it belongs. One of the hardest working spots in the kitchen is the sink, but it's also one of the dirtiest places in our homes. It's actually dirtier than your toilet. Recent studies have even proven this between the bacteria that they have collected and tested. Most people forget to disinfect and clean the sink, and then they also forget to deep clean the garbage disposal. So we're going to talk a little bit on how I incorporate that into my life. I do a kitchen evening reset daily, so I clean the sink, and then I do a garbage disposal on a weekly basis. My favorite cleaning tools are Barkeeper's Friend, again, but the powder version, a Scrub Daddy, and my Rubbermaid trusty scrub brush. So first, I sprinkle a generous amount of Barkeeper's Friend powder all over the sink, and this sink cleaner is amazing for tackling stains, hard water spots, and even rust, while being gentle on the surfaces like stainless steel and porcelain. Next, I grab my Scrub Daddy. I love this sponge because it's firm when it's cold and soft in the warm water, making it super versatile for scrubbing every inch of the sink. And then for those hard-to-reach spots, that's when I grab my trusty Rubbermaid scrush brush. I like to use it around the faucet base and inside the drain. It's perfect for getting into those nooks and crannies. And if you have a protection grate, you want to make sure that you clean that as well. I clean it when I'm doing my deep cleaning every time, just to make sure that there's no food residue or anything like that stuck on there. And once that is done, then I rinse the sink completely clean with super hot water. This is also when I take the time to take a look at my Scrub Daddy to make sure that I don't need to sanitize it. And if I do, I pop that right into the dishwasher or replace it. You should be replacing that every 2 weeks and sanitizing it in your dishwasher. Now it's time to tackle the garbage disposal. A lot of people forget that your garbage disposal has this little protective ring, this rubber ring. On some garbage disposals, you can actually remove that and pull it out. On mine, it is a permanent one unless you remove the entire garbage disposal. You're going to use a little bit of baking soda and vinegar to disinfect and sanitize. You just pour it right down, watch the chemical reaction, and you can do this more than once. And then I go ahead and I rinse the sink. And our final step, using the force of nature, I saturate the entire sink to let it sit. After 1 minute, it sanitizes, and after 10 minutes, it disinfects. This is the perfect solution for cleaning your sink. Let's move on to another kitchen area that often gets overlooked, the microwave and its hidden parts. First, let's talk about cleaning the charcoal filter and grease traps behind the vents. Most over-the-range microwaves have a hidden charcoal filter behind the vent, which traps odors and grease. To access it, you'll need a screwdriver to remove the vent cover, and once the cover is off, carefully remove the charcoal filter. Keep in mind that these filters need to be replaced every 6 months to keep your microwave running efficiently. If the vent or grate is greasy, use a degreaser and a microfiber cloth to clean it thoroughly. Wipe everything down well, let it dry, and then replace the grate and the screws. Make sure everything is secured properly before moving on to the next step. Let's talk about cleaning the overhead grease filters. These are the ones that catch the grease and steam from your cooking. These filters can get pretty grimy if you don't clean them regularly, but it's an easy fix. You have a few options for cleaning. You can soak them in hot water and some Dawn power wash. You can even use a heavy degreaser if that needs to be done as well. But you're just going to want to loosen up the grime and gently scrub before you put the filters back. And make sure to clean the area where the grate sits, as grease tends to build up there too. So if you thought we were done with the stove after putting it back and cleaning behind it, no. We are going to tackle the next part of deep cleaning that's often overlooked. So first is the grate. Make sure that you clean that. I do this regularly with my cleaning. I use just a little bit of soap and water. But there are products out there to deep clean them. Because mine didn't need the deep cleaning, I'm not showing that in this video, but I will link the products to deep clean them. Some of them come with a bag and the solution that you can put them in. Some tips is you can also use a tub or a tote and deep soak it in. Honestly, you can even take it outside. There are a lot of different methods on how to clean these. And then you're going to want to make sure you dry it and replace it back on your stove. And then we're going to head to this part. So these are your burners. And if you have never cleaned this before and taken them off, there is a lot of buildup and gunk and grease that gets stuck underneath there. You also need to remove your handles because same thing, hands, fingerprints, you want to disinfect, sanitize by cleaning them. But to take off your burners, if you have a stove like mine, it's simple process. All you have to do is get a screwdriver and remove the 2 to 3 screws. Mine has 3, and it'll pull right up, and then you're going to find a discovery of the grossness that's down there. Now, some methods on this, on cleaning, I am going to run back to the same method of using some Barkeeper's Friend. Make sure you don't lose your screws, put them away, but that is what builds up. It's disgusting. So you want to make sure you take them all. I like to just create a solution by soaking them inside a bowl. And depending on how long you want to soak it, depends on how much buildup you have. I actually ended up soaking mine for 2 hours to break down some of the stuff in there. And then I used my next cleaning tools, which is a Scrub Daddy that's dedicated to them. I also used a little bit of a scouring stick to get some of the hard buildup in. But why is it important to clean these? You may be thinking, Lisa, who cares? Nobody's looking at these things. Like if someone's coming to inspect my house and look at these burners, they can kick rocks. I get it. Yeah, it is a low totem pole task. I'm with you there. But here's why it's important. If you've ever tried to start your stove and one of your burners was burning uneven, meaning the flames wasn't coming out as strong, or maybe the flame was coming out a little low, this is the reason why. There is a lot of buildup and gunk in there that is not allowing it to function properly. Now, in the start of this, I was showing you that I sprinkled the Barkeeper's Friend. You're supposed to sprinkle water first. I don't do that only because my personal preference, I don't want water to get down into underneath the stove and inside the burner flame area. So that is why I did that. And I make sure that my Scrub Daddy has water on it, and then I activate it. That is just a personal preference. You can choose how you want to do that. Now I follow up while that is there, because you need to allow it to work. I am going in with my rubber brush, my Rubbermaid brush that I love to use to get into the details to clean out some of the other stuff. Then you're going to want to let the Barkeeper's Friend kind of sit and kind of dry as it starts to deactivate. And I do other cleaning tasks such as using the pumice stone to start cleaning away at some of the hard areas or areas that are truly built up that will not break down with just a little bit of a scrubbing. Now, I do have an entire video dedicated to a pumice stone, so before you use that, maybe check that video out. I'll link at the top here. But make sure when you're using these pumice stones, you have to make sure they are wet. But look at the outcome. This is so pretty. This is why I'm obsessed with cleaning, because the results of the shininess. Mind you, this oven is probably, I don't know, I think we're at 15 years now. It came with the house. We've been in the house for several years, and if it's the original to the house, it's probably over 20 years old, and that oven looks brand new. Continuing on, let's go scrub at those burners. They have been sitting for a while, and you can already see that some of this product has started to break down the mess and the gunk and is easily being able to come off. Now I'm using my scrubbing power of the pumice stone to get the rest of that off, but look how beautiful.
Keep you in my heart is where you are. I still think of you, I want you coming back. I remember when we were staring at a photo. Don't forget the way you look me in the eyes. And I keep you in my heart is where you are. I still think.
We are not done yet, so now it's time to tackle the inside of the oven. If you have a self-cleaning oven and you've used that button thinking that you're cleaning your oven, I've got news for you. This is not the truth. Actually, I don't even use that feature. Like with anything else we clean, there are multiple ways to clean your oven. So I'm going to show you the first and the easiest way, but it is a chemical heavy way. So using the fume-free is my preference, easy off spray. You can use a all-natural solution by adding baking soda and vinegar and letting that sit and creating a paste. Works as well. You can also use a steam cleaner. The steam cleaner is going to help break up a lot of the buildup, and then you can follow that up with a pumice stone to get some of the leftover stuff that doesn't want to come up.
I remember when we were staring photo. Don't forget the way you look me in the eyes. And I keep you in my heart is where you are. I still think of you, I want you coming back. I remember when we were staring photo. Don't forget the way you look me in the eyes. And I keep you in my heart is where you are. I still think of you, I want you coming back. Call me when you want.
We have finally reached it to the end of this video, and if you have a water dispenser or ice machine, this could be making you sick and you didn't even know. So inside of the ice maker and the water dispenser, there can be black mold hiding and all kinds of nasty things. So we are going to go ahead and we are going to take this apart. We are going to deep clean it, sanitize it, and disinfect it and put it all back. Now, mine looks a little grungy. Well, it's 15, 20 years old, like I said. So some of that is like, it's just old. It's worn down. But it still works, so we're not getting rid of it. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to tackle this. So the first things that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to remove the tray. This should slide right out, and then you're going to want to lock your mechanism. We're going to take that dispenser, and we're also going to take that water tray, and we're going to put it inside our just area so that we can wash it for later and use a hard water stain remover like a descaler. Now, let's look inside our ice dispenser there. So there is a rubber gasket there or seal so that it can seal it off. So I'm going to try to spray a little bit of the disinfectant spray in there. Not too much. You don't want to like oversaturate it and things like freeze together or get into some of the mechanisms, but we do need to get a little bit of sanitation going on and bacteria removal by spraying our spray. And you can see some of that dirt is starting to fall down already, which is kind of gross if you think about that. Like, what if that was in your cup? This is why we do this. Okay, moving on. So now as I spray this, I have my timer going. I'm going to let it sit, and then we're going to move on to the next process. While we wait for the timer, we are going to go ahead and clean that ice tray cover. And you should come mostly clean if you just use some soap and water, but you may have some hard water buildup. So again, going in with a barkeeper's friend descaler. If you can't tell, a barkeeper's friend is our best friend in the kitchen, like it literally is. We are going to use that on our tray and also on the ice cover system to make sure we get all of the nastiness there. And you can see the descaler there. It'll eat away at the hard water, and then you can just wash it and then let it dry. All right, now that our 10 minutes is up, we are going to go ahead and take our Q-tips and we are going to clean all around the gasket and rubber area. And you should see some of the dirt and black mold that has built up and remove that. Now we're going to work on the water dispenser area. So inside there, I just take my Q-tip and I kind of roll it with my finger and make sure that I have some of the spray disinfectant on there. And I'm going to squeeze it inside there to get any buildup that may be around there. If you have never cleaned this, it might be a little slimy and gross. And you can actually see where the water is kind of sitting inside, but you want to make sure you clean all the edges and get all the way around. Once you are satisfied with your clean, you want to make sure that you use a microfiber cloth again with a little bit of the sanitizing spray and get around all the areas, and you can start to dry it and replace all the pieces.
I remember when we were staring photo. Don't forget the way you look me in the eyes. And I keep you in my my heart is where you are. I still think of you. I want you coming.
And last but not least, if you have never cleaned your faucet spout, now is the time. Again, using that Barkeeper's descaler, we are going to go ahead and clean that out. We are going to let that sit for a few minutes. You can also use a solution of just vinegar. You can tie a baggie, a Ziploc bag around it and let it sit and disinfect and also descale that for you. Or if you have one that is removable, you can remove the entire piece off. I hope you enjoyed this kitchen adventure and it inspired you to get your kitchen to tip-top shape. For more inspiration on cleaning, organizing, and decluttering, be sure to watch any of my other motivational videos. And as always, thank you for watching and for all your support. See you next time.